Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm an instructor at Kids Clayroom in Chicago, and I wanted to show you guys how we can make a little clay project. This is a kitty pinch pot. If you purchased a take-home kit, this is what it looks like, and I'm going to show you how we can make a project with this box of clay. Okay, so if you purchased a little take-home kit, this is what comes in it. You get a paintbrush and a fork, and there's a little piece of tape for your name. You can either write your name on the bottom of your piece. So I just used the back of my paintbrush to carve my name in there, not too deep, but it's best to put your name on the clay, no initials, just your first name, and maybe even just write your name on the tape too, just in case. So you get 3 colors of paint that you can use, and it's special paint, so these are underglazes. You don't want to use just like acrylic paint because that'll burn off in our oven. So these are special, and here's your clay. So you want to be really careful. Any clay that you're not going to use at the moment, you want to keep in the bag because the clay can dry out pretty quickly. So put this to the side, and I'll go ahead and start showing you guys how we can make this little kitty pinch pot, okay? So what you want to do is separate your clay from the bag into a few parts because we don't want to use the whole chunk of clay to make our project. So the head is separate from here, and we just attached it. So I'll first show you guys how to make this part of the cat, the body part. So you're going to start with a ball, and you're going to make a pinch pot, which you can refer to our other videos on. So you're just going to kind of stick your thumb in there and pinch around like this and get it to the shape that you want. So I'm going to stick with that. This one is going to be a little bit smaller than that one, but that's okay. We'll make the head. So I like to start with a ball. You can just roll it in your hands like this, okay? And then we kind of want to make this shape. So basically I just kind of was pinching the ears. So I'm kind of making this shape, and you can start to kind of like pinch. So your kitty has some ears like this. And just kind of, you can smooth the clay with your hands. Kind of like that. Okay, that's starting to look like a little kitty. All right, so why don't we start adding some eyes on before we attach this on, okay? So keep the face there, and let's make some eyes. I'm gonna take a little bit of clay from here, roll some little balls, and we wanna make sure that every piece of clay that we attach to one another, we want to scratch and attach it. Because if we just put the clay onto the clay and press it on, once it dries, it's gonna fall right off, okay? Clay becomes really brittle when it dries, so we need to make clay glue. Just like this, really nice scratches on both, and you're gonna dip a little bit of water and attach. You're gonna give it a nice little wiggle on there. Okay, so we have a little eye. Let's add the other one on. Make your ball and add your scratches. Put a little bit of water. You don't want to put a lot. You don't want to drench it with water, but just a little bit. And then stick it on. So we have our 2 eyes. And then we can add some little pupils inside. I really like to use the paintbrush for a lot of things. It's helpful to make little indents and write your name. So we got some kitty eyes. Next, let's make the mouth and the nose. So these are like little coils, mini coils. So we'll take a little bit of clay, and you want to make sure that you have newspaper down. I forgot to mention that because the clay can just stick straight to the table. It doesn't really stick to the newspaper. So any kind of paper is good. So here's a little coil for the one side of the mouth, and then the other side. They're really tiny, so it's kind of hard to show, but you can do that. And since these are so tiny, you don't have to scratch these, but definitely make sure that you scratch where it's gonna go. And it can be really messy because we can always erase the lines that are still showing. So we'll put a little bit of water, and then we'll add the little mouth on, like that. And you can use your finger, dip your finger in the water to get rid of the marks, or use a little bit of a wet paintbrush to get rid of them. That just makes it look a lot nicer. And then let's add the nose. Just a little ball. Scratch where it's gonna go. Add some water. And press it on really good. Okay, so we got a little face, and now we want to attach it to here. Okay, so let's add our scratches. Put a little bit of water, and then kind of wiggle it on. Now you're gonna see these scratches still showing, so you want to get rid of those. I like to use my finger. And you want to kind of blend the head on a little bit so it sticks really good. So I use the handle part and kind of blend it down so it's really stuck. Just like that. It's kind of blending it on. So now you can have some little fun tools. So I have some pasta, like a marker top, a Lego, seashell, a straw, a chopstick. These are just some little things that are around, I think, most people's homes that you can kind of press into your clay to make fun little indents. Lego, you want to make sure that your hand is inside the pinch pot, because if you press it in, it's going to totally collapse this. So you can make little like flowers, okay, all kinds of fun little designs. Let's give this kitty some feet though. So kind of like these are just little balls. So let's take a little bit of the clay, make a ball. We're gonna put our feet here and the other foot here. And to make the feet, I like to take the paintbrush and add little indents for the feet. We're gonna scratch it. Gonna add some water. Press it on really good. Make the other foot. Just like this. Okay. You could also give them a little tail, like a little swirly tail. I suggest keeping it on the pinch pot instead of doing something like this where it's hanging off, because once the clay dries again, it gets really brittle, so this could pop right off. It's best to kind of keep the clay onto one another. So we'll just scratch where it's gonna go. Add your water. And then kind of swirl it on. And then make sure you get rid of those lines. Okay? You can kind of blend the tail a little bit on so it sticks really good. All right, so you can kind of make it your own. It doesn't have to look just like this. You could add little buttons, you could add a little tie or a bow tie, anything you want. This is just kind of an idea to get you guys started. Now, when you start with the paints, it's best to get like a cup of water. Since you only have one paintbrush, you can just dip it and clean your brush off and do a new color. But you want to give these like a good layer. You don't want to put a ton of paint on because it's going to take forever to dry, and it'll show up nice after a couple layers once it dries. So you just want to paint it on. like that, okay? So also a tip, it's best to bring your project back with it being wet still, because if you bring your piece to the studio dry, the transporting of it, it could break really easily. So bringing it back pretty dry is a good plan. Keeping a like plastic over it if it doesn't fit in this box, which I think this might, yeah, it does. So bringing it back in the box is great. If it doesn't fit, just bring it in like a baggie or plastic wrap over it, something just to keep it from drying out. And then make sure that you put your name on the bottom too. That's really important. All right, I think that's it. And I hope you guys enjoy and make some cute projects. We can't wait to see them.